Hi y'all, come with me to Pinebluff, Arkansas, also known as Jefferson County. Let's talk about Clea Denise Hall. She liked to go by Clea, so here Clea is what we will call her. Clea was born on March 30th, 1976 in Pinebluff, Arkansas, to Willie and Laurel Hall. She was the second child of 4. She is the only daughter. Clea was a typical teenager. She was popular. She loved to talk on the phone. She loved reading. She loved hanging with her brothers. She had a big heart, and she loves children. Clea was 2 weeks away from her high school graduation. She was valedictorian of her class. She was in the Beta Club, an honor student. She played in the marching band and loved to sing in the church choir. Clea's future looked bright. She had plans for a summer internship in Boston at a pediatrics office. Clea had already been accepted to the pre-med program at the Tennessee State University for the fall semester. On May 6, 1994, it was an exciting night for Clea. She had her hair done. She had her nails done, and her dress was just as she had wanted it to be. That was Clea's senior prom that Friday night, May the 6th. On May the 7th, Clea attended a sorority ball, and on May the 8th, Clea celebrated Mother's Day with her family. On May the 9th, Clea's mom picked her up at 2:30 p.m. from school. She had a job after school and was allowed to leave early. When they arrived to drop Clea off, no one was home, so Clea went home with her mother. She fell asleep on the sofa. She was tired. She had had a busy weekend. At 5 p.m., Dr. Larry Amos's wife called. She apologized for being late. She was held up at school. She was a school teacher. So Clea's mom drove her on to work. She got there about 5:30 p.m. Clea was wearing a white blouse, white navy stripes, and a white shorts with navy polka dots. She had on white socks and sneakers, her hair in a ponytail with a white bow. Clea is a black female. She is 5'9", 120 pounds. She had short hair at the time of her disappearance, dark eyes, dark hair, and a surgical scar on her left knee. Clea had been doing work for Dr. Larry Amos, clerical work. He wrote grants for home daycares and things like that, some rental assistance programs. He did things like that, and she helped him. She did the clerical work after school. When it came time for Clea to get off, she would phone her mom, and her mom would go pick her up. They never wanted Clea to walk home. They thought it was dangerous. At about 8 p.m., Clea called her mother and asked if she had had anyone call for her. Her mother said no, and Clea said she wasn't ready to leave yet. She would call her when she was ready. On May 9th, 1994, that call never came. Willie was wandering around the house about 1 a.m., checking on his children as he usually did. He would go from room to room, make sure they were all safe and in bed asleep. But this time, Clea was not home. So he goes in there and he wakes Laurel up and he tells her Clea is not home. She starts to panic. She runs to Clea's room. Of course, no Clea. She had fallen asleep reading a book, waiting on Clea to call her. Laurel calls Dr. Amos's home about 1 a.m. She says Dr. Amos answered the phone on the first ring. He told Miss Hall that Clea had clocked out about 8:30 p.m. Miss Hall says she's waited all night looking out the window thinking, Clea, you're going to be in trouble. The next day, Clea's brother was sent to school with strict orders to look for Clea. When he got to school, he did just that. He looked for Clea and he reported home, and he was told no, Clea was not at school. Her parents start to panic and they start calling everyone they know, even Clea's friends. By 5 p.m. that evening, they called the police station and reported Clea missing. The police really didn't take it serious. She was 18, and they thought maybe she had just walked away. The police did go to Dr. Amos's house and ask if they could look, and he said no, he was leaving on a business trip, and he was gone for 4 days. 4 days later, they did go look in Dr. Amos's home. the last known place Clea was at, and looked for any kind of evidence just to make sure there was no physical evidence or a sign of a struggle. But this was 4 days later. In the meantime, the police discover a young man that liked Clea from church. He was an Army Reserve, and he was older than Clea. They were friendly but not dating. Investigators searched his vehicle. He was given a polygraph that came back inconclusive. His name has never been made public to this day. He told officers he went to Clea's work, and Dr. Amos got angry when he saw him and told Clea there's to be no courting at work. She said, "We're not courting, we are only friends." And I guess the gentleman left. I find that odd that he tells that to the officers. Years go by with no sign of Clea. Her family never gave up. They continued to search. They continued to celebrate her birthday. They continued to celebrate her anniversary date of her missing. Dr. Amos has planned to have some work done on his home. There are 2 construction workers that come forward. One reports blood, like blood splatter on insulation in a wall. And one reported that a hole in the backyard needed to be filled in, but that at times there was a horrible smell coming from the hole. They say there were flies everywhere. The house was searched. Bags of evidence was taken out. Cadaver dogs were brought into the backyard. But the insulation turned up it was not blood, and I cannot find any kind of report on if the dogs hit on anything. Dr. Amos had his home renovated up to 8 times in 18 years. There are several theories about Clea and what happened to her. One is, she decided to walk home, and that would have been an 11-minute walk. And I've looked around the area, and there's lots of trees. There's a forest you can go walk. You can walk your dog on a leash. There's lots of homes, and they think maybe she was abducted. Another theory is she never left Dr. Amos's home. Another theory is Dr. Amos had a son who frequented the home. He was older than Clea, and a few years later he was arrested for assaulting a female victim. But in July of 2020, Omar Amos was shot in his home. He lived a couple homes down from his father. Some believe she could have run away. I believe it is possible that Clea left with someone she knew and was met with foul play. To this day, April 3rd, 2023, Clea has not been found. In 2019, her family was still searching for her. Her mother has said she would not stop until they take their last breath. Clea's family started a foundation, the Clea Hall Foundation, for students in Jefferson County. It offers support to students who want to pursue a career in medicine. In 2019, Laurel Hall attended a bill signing by Asa Hutchinson, the governor of Arkansas, for CART, Child Abduction Response Team, which brings together collaboration of different agencies in the event of a missing child. Clea's family, as far back as I can see, of 2019, are still searching for her. Clea has been missing now for 29 years. Here we are, April the 4th of 2023, and there is still no sign of Clea. There's no evidence, there's no sightings, there's nothing. Someone out there somewhere knows something. Please come forward and give this family some peace. Clea has been gone for 29 years. I can't imagine looking for my child for 29 years. I can't imagine that mother's pain. If you have any information about Clea Hall, please contact the Pinebluff Police Department at 870-541-5300 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, 1-800-THE-LOST or 1-800-843-5678. It is time to bring Clea home.